Hey guys, so today I'm going to give you guys my top 16 rankings for teams going into the next major that is coming in about 2 weeks. In my opinion, this is probably the closest major by far that CSGO has ever seen in terms of teams, and pretty much every single team here has a chance of getting out of groups. So we're going to start with the lower tier 2 teams that are at the major. You probably won't see more than one of these teams get out of groups if any of them do. For number 16, we got Vexed, who is the Polish team who got here by beating Hellraisers 2-1 at 90-10 odds. They are pretty much the weakest team going into the major and probably will just lose out in groups, but they aren't too far away from the other lower tier teams. At number 15, we got Flipside, who lost to CLG in the qualifiers, but ended up beating Copenhagen Wolves to get here. Max potential for these guys are probably getting to quarterfinals, but most likely you'll just see them lose out in groups. For number 14, there is CLG, who beat Flipside 3, and this is a team that upsets the bigger teams a lot in BO1s in the past. Even though CLG is a decent team, I'm rating them 14th because of how stacked this tournament is. The last team in the lower tier 2 teams is Luminosity. Now these guys beat it out of groups last time, but ended up losing to Fnatic 2-0 in the quarterfinals. I can easily see this once again getting out of groups, but with how stacked this tournament is, I have to rank them at probably around 13. For the higher tier 2 teams, probably only 2 of these teams will make it out of groups because of how strong the 6 tier 1 teams are. So at number 12, we got Liquid, who got here by beating the Australian team 2 times after they picked up Hiko, and they seem to be doing a lot better in NA. Currently, they're probably better than CLG and probably better than Luminosity, and at this rate, I think Liquid has the potential to be just as good as Cloud9. For number 11, 10, and 9, we got Mouse, Dig, and G2. These 3 teams are pretty much the middle of the pack teams, just outside the top 8 that gets you out of groups. These teams all have a chance to lose to anyone in the tournament and also has a chance to beat anyone in the tournament in a BO1. But with only 8 teams getting out of groups, only one of these teams will probably make it out. At number 7 and 8, we got Cloud9 and Titan. In my opinion, Titan is currently on the rise as they seem to be playing a lot better online, and Cloud9 is currently on the downfall after not really performing recently and even going over to Australia and losing to Immunity. So finally, we got the top 6 tier 1 teams. I am almost certain that the finals and the winner will be a team from this top 6. Most likely these teams will all make it out of groups, but there's a decent chance that one of these teams will lose out during the group stage due to single elimination. At number 6, we got NIP. Now these guys have pretty much just slowly got worse this year, but recently they have been performing decently, beating NV in a BO3 on LAN and then beating TSM in a BO3 online. I doubt these guys will make it past the semis, but they also have a chance of losing in groups. Number 5, we have Navi. For me, this is a team to look out for to go very deep. At the moment, everybody's talking about the big 4, but I think Navi is only like an inch behind other teams. Even though they had some poor performances recently, I actually think they can make a comeback in this tournament. At number 4, we have VP, who just won the ESL 250k Dubai tournament and placed 2nd at the PGL tournament. Virtus Pro is one of the teams that have a decent chance to make it to finals and will probably place at least semis depending on who they play. For number 3, we have the reigning champions of the last major, Fnatic. Fnatic currently is on a hard downfall, losing to a lot of teams, but since they're pretty much the number 1 team for a year straight, there's a good chance that they can perform again and win the tournament. If you see them losing the quarterfinals or worse, you could probably just see a roster change with NIP. At number 1 and 2, we got Envious and TSM. Some people probably won't agree with how high Envious is, but with their lineup and potential, I think they belong here at the moment going into the next major. TSM recently had a good 25-0 game run, and they also won PLG without dropping a single map, where they beat VP and Fnatic. Envious haven't been doing too consistently lately, but they did win Gfinity 2015 Champion of Champions 2 weeks ago, beating VP 3-2 and then also beating Fnatic 3-2. We'll most likely see one of these 2 teams in the finals or even win the whole thing. most people would probably say TSM number 1 at the moment and Envious number 2 or 3, but I think they're very close at the moment.